determined to have an IQ
Oh!
no more than...
Oh! Shit, maybe I should sign up for my Bulgaria. I don't know if Bulgaria has a Paralympic team or basketball, but damn, seem to qualify so far.
70.
Hello, you sexy bastards. How are y'all doing today? We're back again with another video. This is the greatest Paralympic scandal of all time. I saw this on the Discord suggestions and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. This is by AustinMcConnell. That's a pretty cool name, bruh. So let's check it out. I mean, I can
So it's the
already imagine how
2000
it's
Summer
gonna be.
Paralympics in Sydney.
Excuse me.
So it's the 2000 Summer Paralympics in Sydney.
2007.
We're in the final moments of the men's intellectual
Okay.
disability
Wait,
basketball.
before we start, quick question for everybody. Has anyone actually ever watched the Olympics? I've never seen the Olympics. Last year, I saw like a video on YouTube of the Japanese versus the Chinese or Korean something archery competition. It was pretty cool actually. The first time watching the Olympics in 24 years of life.
Finals, and
Insane.
Spain is up by 24. They've been killing it all week, and they're about to finish off Russia and jump to third in the medal table behind the United States and
Paralympic
Britain. The entire
basketball.
country is, needless to say, thrilled. And why wouldn't they be? Unlike the cutthroat Olympics, the Paralympic Games are probably the most beloved sporting event in the whole world.
Really?
It's a celebration of triumph over hardship, the wonder
True.
of the human spirit. It's one of the few times where athletes are all pulling for each other, and there are no real losers. But winning is just a bit sweeter, and Spain's making it look easy on the hardwood. The last few seconds tick away, and the team comes out on top. Journalists are writing copies about all the adversity these
Damn, these dudes are better than the fucking female NBA teams.
12 young men have overcome to climb atop the podium and receive their much-deserved gold medals. They're soon to be national treasures, a testament to guts,
Damn,
grit,
they good though.
courage, and hard work. If they could accomplish their dreams,
Now you tell me
what's
that they're
stopping
not
you?
actually.
And as the national anthem plays and the crowd applauds, the moment seems picture perfect. But little did the world know, it was a lie. All of it was a lie.
How much of all of it? Oh no. Oh no. They weren't this. I mean, why do you do this? Like, I understand cheating in the normal Olympics, but why? Like, it's an extremely fucked up thing to do. I mean, right? It's extremely fucked up. It's not even a little fuck. It's like, bruh. Come on. God damn it, Spain. What the fuck? Jesus, okay.
Doping remains a notorious issue for both the Olympic and Paralympic Games, but especially for the latter. It's easy to see why. Due to the very nature of the event, many of the participants are on performance-enhancing drugs to treat physical disabilities, so policing drug abuse during the Games has always been a challenge. A common form of doping is boosting, by which athletes with a spinal cord injury induce autonomic dysreflexia and spike their blood pressure for increased performance. This practice was banned by the International Paralympic Committee in 1994, but it's still an ongoing problem in the sport. To combat the issue in 2000, the Sydney Games established a doping control program, and for the first time, Paralympic athletes were asked to participate in out-of-competition drug testing. This was a good step to take. It meant that the testing window was much wider, and any competitor could be called for a test at any point throughout the Games, and it worked. 14 athletes tested positive. It practically saved the powerlifting competition from becoming a total farce. But suppose a potential cheater was operating with a different premise. See, the doping control program was designed to police participants from using drugs to gain an unfair physical advantage. But what if an athlete desired instead to be disadvantaged? What if, say, a non-disabled person pretended to be disabled to compete? How would you police that?
Well, wait.
I mean, come on, why would you need to police that?
Yeah.
Who would be so morally repugnant to try it?
And now we
This
introduce.
is Fernando Martin Vicente. At the
Oh.
time of the Sydney
He do look like a cunt though.
Games, he was the president of the Spanish Federation of Sports
He
People
did
with
look like a
Intellectual
cunt, though.
Disabilities, and by the time our story concludes, he will be found guilty of fraud and forgery. Here's a recent photo of him shaking hands with the Pope. I'm not going to act like I know this man's character. It's been almost 2 decades since the event we're talking about, and a lot can change in that time. I do know that when you're the head of an organization like FETI, there's constant pressure to get a hold of government grants. It's a surefire way to keep the lights on, and often the only option to accomplish your institution's agenda. But grants don't come easy. There's a lot of organizations seeking them, and only so much money to go around, so priority goes to associations that have a track record of success, and at that point, the only thing on your mind is win medals. Because the more medals you win, the more incentive the government has to extend grant money in your direction. So why not, just for 1 year, enter a team that's almost guaranteed to win? Yeah, but how do you do that? Well, what if your team wasn't actually disabled? How much easier could it be to come in?
Don't they like require like medical stuff to? I mean, you know, like if you're disabled, you have like papers and shit, right?
First. And again, you're only doing it the one time. Just win a gold medal, and the incentives for grants is guaranteed. Your organization will stay afloat for the foreseeable future, you'll employ plenty of people, and in doing so, your association can continue to assist those who are mentally disabled for maybe decades to come. It's a classic case of trying to justify shady behavior in the name of the greater good. So FETI set out to build a super team, and build it they did. All that was necessary was to recruit some fairly competitive basketball players who were willing to keep their mouths shut about the scam, and things were set. I mean, they really only needed to hire like 2 or 3 players tops to pull something like this off, right? I guess 5 if you wanted to stack your side of the court during play, but Spain took it even further. They recruited 10. 10 players out of the 12-man roster were not actually disabled. If you're like me, the only thing on your mind is how? How did they pull this off? How did nobody notice this? It's a fair question to ask. See, in order to qualify as a participant in the intellectual disability basketball event, a prospective player is required to complete a litany of mental tests to determine their eligibility. The competitor must be determined to have an IQ no more than...
Shit, maybe I should sign up for my Bulgaria. I don't know if Bulgaria has a Paralympic team of basketball, but damn. Seem to qualify so far.
75.
Okay.
So these 10 guys had to purposely fail a series of intelligence tests and make it look authentic. Naturally, I decided to test this myself. What if I was one of the 10? Could I fake my way through an IQ test into the category of mental disability?
Bruh, I don't even need to fake it. Come on, bro.
How hard could it be? But there was a challenge. I mean, I needed to score low enough to qualify for the event, but also high enough so as to not attract any suspicion from hypothetical outside auditors. I figured 55 was a good target to aim for. So a bit about the IQ test. It measures several factors of intelligence like logical reasoning, math skills, language abilities, spatial relations skills, knowledge retained, and the ability to solve novel problems. Though it's always had some controversy associated with it, it's still a fairly good way of judging a person's level of intelligence. IQ is also fluid. It changes with age, and in that respect, I was a little nervous. I mean, I hadn't taken a math test in almost a decade. But I'm trying to fail, right? So no worries. The challenge wasn't going to be so much scoring under 75, but scoring over 55. It is incredibly hard to judge that kind of thing. You go into the test blind, and there's no real way of gauging your progress as you take it. So I think the trick to this is going to be to answer in a way that's close to right, but not quite correct. Does that make sense? 2 women start at the same point. They walk in opposite directions for 3 meters, then turn right and walk another 4 meters. How far apart are they?
1.
Some Gobelsteins are Pajanters, and all Pajanters are Gerbelsons. Are some Gobelsteins definitely Gerbelsons?
What?
It's too early for this.
What are those fucking... What is a Gobelstein? Panjanter.
Are some Gobelsteins
I told you, I would ace this.
Too early for this.
Easy 60 IQ.
Add the even numbers in this list. 2, 4, 6, 11, 18, 37, 38. Is the sum an even number or an odd number? Well,
good question, bro.
Oh, I answered that one right on accident. After about 40 minutes of deliberation, your boy walked away with an IQ score of 25. Might have undershot that a bit. So sure, I guess technically I wouldn't have had any problems qualifying, but I don't know if such a score...
Is that the point where you're literally like a vegetable or Is under the 20s.
Would have allayed suspicion.
My guy.
However, another point I should probably make note of here. In the research for this video, I read conflicting reports as to how extensive the testing was for each player on Spain's team. Some claim to have never been tested at all. Some alleged that they purposely scored low on tests issued, and other reports I read stated that all medical forms were forged from an outside source and delivered to officials without any players being made aware at all. But whichever way you take it, the end result was the same. They all managed to slip in with no issues. But every crazy story needs crazy twists, and this one's got a doozy. If this whole thing was a Hollywood movie, the main character would undoubtedly be this guy, Carlos Ribagorda. Seaman was one of the 10 recruited players that was in on the scam, and during the games he helped propel Spain to victory, but a few weeks after the closing ceremony, he sent his medal back to Paralympic headquarters, as well as his team kit and the 150 pounds that each Spanish athlete was given for the Sydney trip. Was it a
Oh, y'all felt bad? You felt bad, huh? You felt bad, motherfucker, didn't you? You weren't feeling bad when you were slam dunking your nuts into the actual, special people, huh? Motherfucker? That's fucked up. I don't like this. That's annoying me.
A sudden change of heart? Had his conscience finally gotten the best of him? Don't count on it. The truth? Carlos Ribagorda was an undercover investigative journalist.
What?
He was blowing the whistle on the whole
what? Okay, never. I'm sorry, bro. You're actually a G. You're a Chad, bro. I'm sorry.
So details are a little fuzzy about all of this, but here's
Is
what
this
we
a
do
movie?
know. After 2 years of work to successfully infiltrate the ring, Seaman was called up 5 months before the Sydney Games and asked to participate.
There were 5 months of training with not a single disabled person in sight. The 2 genuinely disabled players came from outside Madrid.
In all that time, the only medical test he was ever subjected to? 6 push-ups, then a blood pressure check.
Everyone can pass that. Come on.
Think I'm good. So they hit the floor in Sydney, and during their first match, the team played so well against their disabled opponents that they were up 30 points by halftime. At that point, their coach told...
Bruh. I don't know if y'all watch basketball, but 30 points is a lot. By halftime.
told them to slow down and let the other team shoot more, saying allegedly,
"Lads, move down a gear, or they'll figure out you're not disabled."
So they moved down a gear. And it made no difference. When you've stacked the deck so deeply and so well, how could it? The entire week they cut down team after team after team, and suddenly we're back to the medal ceremony. As the anthem plays, as with every event in the Paralympics, reporters begin to snap photos of the champions. And soon those photos are sent to newspapers all over Spain. They're the nation's Paralympic champions after all. But funny thing about photos, they tend to get seen. When the team's picture appeared on the front page of a popular Madrid sports daily, it didn't take too long for players and coaches in that photo to get recognized. In an online article, the comments section began to be filled with people claiming...
No. Y'all better tell me y'all didn't get some players out of your like national team or like players that have actually played for teams and stuff. Nah, y'all ain't that stupid, right? Y'all ain't that stupid. Nah.
To know this guy or that
Ain't
guy,
that stupid.
how they weren't disabled at all, and the whole scheme began to slowly but surely unravel. Officials caught wind of the brewing storm and advised the players to wear sunglasses, hats, and grow beards so they wouldn't be recognized when the team arrived back home. After the plane touched down, Seaman got off the flight and blew the whistle by publishing one of the most bizarre exclusives of all time. And 2 weeks later, the team was officially disqualified and ordered to return the gold medals. The fallout was so bad that the IPC announced they would officially suspend all events that involved intellectual disabilities. All of them, due to serious difficulties in determining the eligibility of athletes. That suspension would not be lifted until 2009. In 2013, after a decade of investigation and court battles, Fernando Martín Vicente was found guilty of fraud and forgery, and he was fined 5,400 euros. A lot of folks would call it a slap on the wrist, but to be fair, he was also ordered to return the 150,000 euros that he received from sponsorships due to the team's victory.
That's it?
As for those 10 fake disabled
You fucked up the events for 9 years for people that wanted to participate on those events and you get fined 5K.
Paralympians, when all was said and done, they walked away with no charges. This is the point in the video where I'm supposed to come up with some kind of moral, to wax poetic about
don't be
how
a cunt.
crime doesn't pay and
Moral
cheaters never
of today,
prosper.
don't be a cunt.
But I can't, because that's not true. The world has plenty of athletes who will gladly bend and break the rules to get a bigger
True.
paycheck. And many
But
of
that's
them
a little
prosper
different.
far beyond what the straight shooters ever will. It'll always be like that. So I guess the only thing we can really take away from this, the greatest Paralympic scandal of all time, is cheaters may prosper, but they won't be happy. In a later interview, Seaman said this about the team's attitude during the medal ceremony.
The whole thing was a farce, really. We stood there and listened, but it was a false medal. It was
Of course
a
it
false
was. You
national
don't work
anthem.
for it.
Nobody really wanted to talk about it afterwards.
Of course.
See, that's the saddest thing about all this to me. Winning wasn't enjoyable for the team because the team's victory was a lie. A gold medal shines brightest when it's won fairly and honorably. It's not nearly as satisfying to win when there really was no challenge in the first place, right? And it's not just that they won by dishonest means, it's that they stole the medals from other teams that actually were battling these hard mental disabilities. They robbed those Paralympians of the opportunity to grab a moment of victory, a moment that many of them sorely needed. Cheat and get away with it, and every prize you receive will feel hollow and meaningless. Oh, and cheat and get caught, and be prepared to have that stuff stick to you for the rest of your life.
It should.
Even Carlos Ribagorda,
him.
the hero of the story, will
Wait.
have his name forever connected to the events at
I
Sydney.
mean, in a good
he was
light,
the
though.
good guy. How much worse do you think it is to be one of the other 9, or the guy labeled as the mastermind of the whole operation in the end? Was all of this really worth it? In the heat of the moment, it might have seemed so, but at the last, what were they left with?
Nothing.
So, yeah, stay in school, kids.
Right. Jesus Christ. Okay, this dude's cool. Okay, I like that. I enjoy that. What y'all think? Do y'all think they should be fined more, or like, I mean, prison? I don't know, bro. That seems like a very fucked up thing. 5K, 10 years later. Like, you ruined the shit for a lot of people. It seems a little too light for me. Shit, I mean, y'all are gonna let me know, I hope, in the comments, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye bye, everybody. Have a nice day.